Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k. So we are on our third episode of this mini series. It's not quite a Know Your Foe series, but it is in a sense because we're going over the previewed army rules and detachment rules that Warhammer community have released for us to go through. So we're kind of picking holes in them, looking for weaknesses so that when we get 10th edition, we get into our games, we can kind of have a little bit of a game plan very early on before we actually get into the real Know Your Foe stuff when 10th edition does drop. Now, before getting into today's video, the plug of the day will be for the YouTube membership area. So for as little as 99 pence or 99 cents or whatever currency you're using from whatever country you're watching this from, you can effectively become a YouTube member by clicking the join button down below this video. It's either a blue button or a black button. They keep changing the color of it. And you get some perks when you are joined as a member. First of all, you get loyalty badges. So for every month that you're a member, you'll get this loyalty badge, so when you make a comment on the videos, that badge will come up against your name. You've probably seen it with all the regulars that comment on the videos. You also get to use the custom emojis, which are just a bit of fun. We're always updating those. And further to that, if you are a member, you can jump on our Discord server, where you'll be given a unique Discord role, only one person per role. So if you wanted to be Illuminazares, for example, only one person can have that, and then once they've taken it, it's gone. It's yours, it's unique. There is a membership area or a VIP member on our Discord, membership area if you like, and that's where I hang out. That's where we discuss lists, my lists, your lists. I also take video requests, and we just generally just hang out in that area. But yeah, any donations that are made, they literally do keep me doing what I'm doing. They keep the lights on. I know that's kind of a bit of a cliche thing to say when you're a YouTuber starting out, but it literally does keep me going. So thank you everyone that is actually clicking and checking out the membership area, and if you are joining, even better. Right, so let's get into the topic of the day. We're talking about Tyranids today. We're talking about their army rules, and we're talking about the detachment rules, which was previewed a few weeks before the army rules were previewed. So we're going to kind of backtrack into that because this was a few weeks ago now, in fact. But we've already done the Sisters of Battle and we've already done the Chaos Demons. So if you've missed those, check those ones out as well. Right, so Tyranids. First army rule is Synapse. Synapse isn't what it used to be in 9th edition, it has changed. So what is Synapse to begin? Units that are within 6 inches of Synapse models effectively get to use 3d6 when doing a battle shock test rather than 2d6. Which means it's very difficult for them to fail a battle shock test. Which means they're going to keep hold of their objective control. Also, they're going to keep using stratagems on that unit, because if you do lose your, or if you do fail your battle shock test, you can't be doing either of those things. So that's the first advantage with the Tyranids. So let's talk about that to begin with. In fact, Synapse. How do we deal with that? What is the weakness to Synapse? Well, it's quite clear, and it kind of has been for a number of editions now. You target the Synapse units, you target the Synapse creatures. They're mainly the HQs. Now, of course, this could all change. We don't know exactly what has Synapse and what doesn't have Synapse. But if you are targeting those Synapse creatures, you're breaking that bubble and you're taking things out of synaptic range. So therefore, they'll be using the standard 2d6 for their battle shock test. So that was quite a standard idea and a standard theory to defeat that army rule. But they do have a second army rule, and it's called Shadow in the Warp. Now, Shadow in the Warp, it's only a once per battle thing now. So it used to be an anti-psychic phase kind of thing. It didn't really affect Necrons, but now it does. So, once per battle in either player's command phase, if they've got at least one unit within their army that's got this ability, that's on the battlefield, then they can unleash Shadow in the Warp. But when they do so, each enemy unit on the battlefield must take a battle shock test. So, this could be done in two kind of ways here. So, it could be the Tyranid player's command phase, and they could use it, and then you're going to be forced to take battle shock tests army-wide, regardless of whether you've got units that are under half strength. You're still taking those tests, and as we've seen from the Necron warriors, our leadership is now only, I think it was 7, wasn't it? 7+. So we've got to roll more than a 7 in order to pass. If you don't, again, you're losing objective control, and you can't use stratagems on them for that turn. Or they could be using it in our command phase. Now, in our command phase, we could already potentially be taking battle shock tests. So this could be like a doubling up. I'm not sure, I don't know if that's been confirmed or not. Can we take 2 battle shock tests in one phase? If they use this kind of ability, I don't see why not. So that could be really, it could be a huge hindrance, in fact, to us, especially if we've got units that are under half strength. But at the same time, I see a weakness in that. If they're trying to minimize our units so that we've got lots of units on the battlefield, and then we're all taking battle shock tests, or all the units taking battle shock tests, that means they've not focus fired on particular units. which then means our reanimation protocols is going to be more effective. If we've got more units on the table that are below half strength, we're going to be using reanimation protocols for a lot more units. So I'm not too worried about Shadow in the Warp, because as we've seen from the Necron video we did recently with the pros and cons of reanimation protocols in 10th edition, you saw that what your opponent needs to actually do is focus on one unit at a time and remove it. That way we're not making use of our main army rule, which is reanimation protocols. If everything's at full strength, we're not going to use it, are we? So I'm not too worried about Shadow in the Warp, to be honest. Now, their Invasion Fleet detachment, which has their detachment role, which is Hyper Adaptations. This one is a little bit more concerning, and I don't really have an answer for you. Well, in fact, I have a little answer, but it's something that we need to look at, because at the start of the first battle round, so they get to see your list, they get to see your deployment, then they get to select one of the following for the entire battle, and every single unit in their Tyranids army has this ability. So the first one is the Swarming Instincts. When they're targeting infantry or swarms, they're going to all have the Sustain Hits 1 ability, army-wide. That's pretty big, that's in melee and at range. Option number 2, Hyper Aggression. If they're targeting monsters and vehicles, then they're going to gain lethal hits. So lethal hits, if I remember correctly, was automatically wounding on a roll of a 6 to hit. So you roll a 6 to hit, that auto wounds. And going back to the Sustain Hits one, that is just extra hits on a roll of a 6. And the third option is Hive Predators. Going up against character units, they've got the Precision ability. I still can't remember if they've actually confirmed what the Precision ability actually is. Just going to check. But the chances are it's something to do with being able to target characters regardless of whether they're in units or what. So basically they get to choose one of those 3 abilities to have army-wide. Now notice that each one of them was specific to either infantry and swarm, monsters and vehicles, or characters. So the weakness to that, if you like, so not the way to defeat it, but the weakness to that hyper adaptation ability is to have a balanced list. It's as simple as that. If you go infantry heavy, they are going to 100% choose option number 1, Swarming Instincts, and have Sustain Hits 1 army-wide. If you take loads of vehicles, they're going to take option number 2. Take a load of characters, option number 3. So if you've got a balanced list, a few vehicles, a few characters, infantry and swarm, bikers, whatever, if you're balanced, then this isn't going to be as key as it could be if you were taking like 90 warriors or something. So that's my advice in terms of dealing with hyper adaptations. So yeah guys, that's another little mini know your foe, prepare for battle kind of video we got for you today. I'm not sure what the next one is going to be on. I'm going to have a look at the list. I mean, every day they're bringing out a new one now, so it's really hard to keep up. But yeah, that's it from me today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.